Hairpin is the Sibelian term for a crescendo or decrescendo, or a diminuendo line. Hairpins always appear below a staff except in vocal staves where they appear above. Thankfully, inputting and editing hairpins in Sibelius is as simple as inputting and editing slurs. To input a hairpin, do the following. Select the note where the crescendo line will begin. I'm going to select the first note in our example here. Then press the letter H to input a hairpin or crescendo line. Sibelius will input the beginning of a crescendo for you, and let's notice the appearance of the line immediately after you input it. There's going to be a blue handle. I'm going to zoom in on that for you. A blue handle already selected on the right or open end of the line. So you probably already know what to do next. You can use spacebar to extend the crescendo to the right, note by note. So spacebar moves it to the next note, and the next note, and the next note. You can also use shift spacebar to retract the crescendo line if you've extended it too far. When you're done inputting the hairpin, press escape, and there it is. Let's do another one just to be safe here. Select a first note, press H, spacebar, and escape. Now, it'd be a good guess if you inputted a crescendo line and then used X to flip it to create a decrescendo. Now, if you're thinking along those lines, then great, you're starting to think like a Sibelian. But unfortunately, you can't flip hairpins in Sibelius. But you already do know another theme that can help you solve the decrescendo dilemma, because a decrescendo is the opposite of a crescendo, and shift does the opposite. So, if you want a decrescendo, you're going to use Shift H to input it. Select a note, press Shift H, and spacebar to advance it. Shift space to retract it. And escape when you're done. Let's do that one more time. Select a note, press Shift H, and spacebar will advance it. After you input a hairpin, you can reselect its left or right handle so that you can use spacebar to expand it or retract it again. The closed end handle is right on the tip of the hairpin, and the open end handle is right in between the two lines. So if I want to select the closed end here, I would select right on the tip, and then I can use shift space or spacebar to move that left or right. And on the open end, it's right here in between the two open lines, right in the middle, click, and then you can use shift space or spacebar and escape. And again, if you want to see those handles rather than trying to guess where they're at, you can go to the View tab, Invisibles, and check Handles. And then you can see those very, very clearly. Click on them, and then you can use shift spacebar or spacebar and escape. There's one more way that you can input a hairpin in Sibelius appropriately. You can make a range selection of notes and then press H or Shift H to add a crescendo or decrescendo. So if I want a crescendo underneath these four notes here, I can make a range selection, click and shift click, and then press H. And there it is. We can do the same thing with a decrescendo, make a range selection, and shift H and escape. What you never want to do to add a hairpin is go into the Notations tab and grab a crescendo or decrescendo line from the Lines gallery. When you do this, and you put it into your score, it may not connect properly with the right notes in your passage. So when you go to reformat your score, it may not reformat properly. So I always want you to use H to input a crescendo and Shift H to input a decrescendo. And if you ever want to adjust the spacing of them, make sure you select their handles and use the spacebar.